And welcome back, everybody, to the Podcaster Nation. That's right. I said welcome back because I know you were just listening to our stuff and you came back because you wanted more. Folks, that was a fantastic decision because we have a lot more for you. Now, why do we have a lot more for you? Because this is the podcast. It's about podcasters, it's for podcasters, and it's done by podcasters. Folks, this is the place where we all come together to raise each other up. This is the place where the rising tide truly raises all ships. So let's get sailing and bring in our guest today. He is the founder of Adaptive Office Solutions. He's a cybersecurity expert of 25 plus years. He is the host of the hit podcast, The Adaptive Mindset. And he's also a guy who's lost 130 pounds. And that's not something that you get to hear about every day either. We're going to hear about all this awesome stuff today. Please welcome to the show, Brett Gallant. Brett, how are you doing, brother?
Incredible, Rory. I'm having a great day. I started the morning off at 4:30 at the gym, feeling great, loving life, filled with gratitude.
That is
So,
great. That's a
yeah.
wonderful way to start the day, too, man.
Oh, yeah. I mean, there's so many things that we can be grateful for. My uncle always said that he was grateful just for the breath of a new day.
Nice.
And we take that for granted.
Nice. Nice. You mentioned right off the bat, hey, I started off my day at the gym. And I'm guessing that that's a pretty key component in how you managed to lose over 130 pounds and
Yeah.
counting on this journey.
Yep.
Brother, I mean, first of all, I mean, what and how and what? I mean, that's incredible. So
Yeah.
kudos to you, but everybody's going to want to know. As soon as they hear that, every one of us is going to want to know, how did you do it and what caused you to start looking down that path anyway?
Well, first of all, being an entrepreneur, we're on an island, and if you're a recovering people pleaser like myself, we put everybody else first, but we forget to put our own oxygen masks on. We forget in order for us to serve, we got to take care of ourselves. And I pivoted. I struggled with my weight loss journey over a number of years. In fact, in 2023, when I finally decided to go all in, this was it. I dropped $3,000 on a fitness coach, but I didn't fully commit.
Hmm.
And $3,000 is well worth it. But I still didn't do everything because I wasn't putting myself first. And finally, it got to a point in October 2023. I was talking to my coach, my longtime coach. I said, Dave, I don't have time to get to the gym. And he said, Brett, you mean to tell me you own your own business and you don't have time to go to the gym? I told him to bleep bleep, and he laughed. I censored myself just for the sake of everybody. He laughed, but I knew he was right. And I got to that point where we all do at some points in our lives where this is it. This is it. No more. So I went all in. I built accountability. I told my coach that every week I'm going to give you a check-in on me, my personal. And then I'm in masterminds peer groups with other cybersecurity leaders. And I said, guys, I am going to report to you every Thursday when we meet where I'm at. And I started putting myself first. Now, I start at 5 a.m. in the morning all the time? No. I did it at different times. I went in the middle of the day. I I just happen to be doing the 5 a.m. club. That's what I call it now
Hmm.
because it works well for me. It sets the tone. And then often right after that, I'll um, go for a nice hour walk or hour and a half walk after I put the children on the bus. So um, it's just that point of frustration. And I mean, when I started at that point, I was 330 pounds. I was, I believe in the mindset, like, mindset is a muscle that we need to flex. I started even just going for a 10-minute, 20-minute walk around my neighborhood. And I had to stop a lot of times, but I made this little game with myself. Next time I'm going to go a little further without stopping to get air.
Yeah.
I was out of breath. I mean, even even points I look at my old me, I would avoid going up to the park take my children to the park, which was just up the street because I didn't want to go because I'd be out of breath. So I made a decision. This is it. Doing it for me, for my family, going all in. So yeah,
Wow.
yeah.
And you started slow just by being active, right?
Yeah, and active and hiring a coach and really prioritizing also what I put in my mouth. Like like right now, I told you before we started the show, I'm down 130 pounds. I say release, by the way, I say release.
Hmm.
Most people say loss, but I say release because when you release something, you don't find it. When you lose, you find. So I've released 130 pounds forever, but I'm going for another 20 pounds by December, and I'm December 31st. So I'll be 150. I'm going to be that guy. But what we put in our mouth is just as important as the activity. We can sabotage ourselves after 6 p.m., 7 p.m. if we're not watching our macros. We're not uh, watching what we fuel ourselves with. I look at food now as fuel.
Got it.
Yeah.
Got it. Is that a pretty big component in how you've done it is by watching the macros and maybe calculating macros, calories, things like that? I mean, what was there something you followed to get to that point?
Yeah, I followed I with my coach, I followed a plan, meal plan, and uh, essentially what it is macros, macros, the macros and mindset.
Hmm.
Yeah. And
Okay.
uh, a good part of it is high protein and low carb. If you make it simple and eating at different windows, like not skipping breakfast and only eating lunch and dinner. Now there's other ways of doing this, but what worked for me was breakfast, 10 a.m. snack, 12 uh, lunch, and then afternoon snack, and then dinner, supper, and then after that, don't eat a thing.
Hmm. Okay. So was part
That's
of this intermittent fasting, inadvertently because you cut yourself off at it and then
It's a
when you started?
12-hour fast. Sometimes I'll be transparent. Sometimes I need that snack at night, but for the most part, I'm right now I'm struggling, but I made the decision because I want to be at the 150 release by December 31st. I made the decision as much as I can after 6 p.m. This thing is shut. Mouth.
Nice.
Yeah.
Nice. I like
And
that.
a lot of times it's a decision, and we're not really actually hungry. We're just bored. So I'll drink some water or have a peppermint tea.
Okay.
I've cut out my hot chocolate vice too. That was something I was struggling with recently, but I moved to peppermint tea,
Okay.
something hot. So
No, you're an entrepreneur and
yeah,
so am I. And so, one of the things when I hear you talking about this right now, I I'm over here going, that's be a great idea for me to stop at 6, but man, I work until like, midnight, 1 o'clock, something like that. That's a long road to hoe if you're not sleeping. So,
yeah.
how do you handle the entrepreneur part around these, sort of guidelines? I don't want to say restrictions, guidelines that you put in place for yourself.
It's about prepping. Uh, it's prepping and how I lead. I used to run a business that ran me, Rory,
Okay.
and now I run a business that I run, and I follow something I learned in scouting. I was always rescuing my team, or I felt like it, but I wasn't actually following what I learned from scouting. Train them, trust them, let them lead.
Okay. So it sounds
Okay.
like delegating in a way.
Delegating and relying on your team and allowing them to elevate. And so I'll meal prep as well. In fact, I'm doing a speaking engagement at the time we're recording this. I'm going to be traveling Saturday, and I'll be in northern Canada. Okay.
Okay.
Where the only way that I'm going to this place called Nunavut. I'm planning to bring as much food that I can because number one, the groceries are expensive. So I've developed a little bit of hacks on how I work around that. Um, I'm going to go to the local grocery store and pick up rotisserie chicken and prep that in the hotel room and follow my plan.
Wow. So, all
and
right,
just
you're
plan it out
preparing
and
ahead of
stick
time.
with it. Yeah, it's all about planning and thinking about where I'm going to be. I'll meal prep even in the mornings. I'll meal prep three mornings of overnight oats and meal prep some chicken so I can just grab and go. I'm a person that I need to keep things simple in order to succeed. If it's complicated, it ain't going to work. So I need
Nice.
simple, grab, go. Don't overthink it. I'm a classic. I'm a classic overthinker. So I've been really flexing that muscle of keeping things simple,
Interesting.
simple scales.
Okay.
Yeah,
You- You're a cybersecurity expert, so the idea that you're implementing systems into this doesn't exactly surprise me. That seems to kind of like track for the way I'm guessing your mind works with this whole thing. I'm
yeah,
fascinated by it, and of course I want to get to some of these other topics too. But I got to
yeah,
know, and I'm sure that the folks listening, we all battle with weight at some point in time, somehow, somewhere, or we know somebody who does. And
yeah,
so, can you just give everybody an idea of, let's just say, a typical day in the life of Brett, right? What does
yeah.
that look like, sort of from morning to night in terms of the meals you're eating? Sounds like three meals, two snacks, but what are they? What do they consist of? And am I getting that right?
Sure. Yeah. So in the morning before I go to the gym, I'll have a rice cake, a little bit of peanut butter and jam to give me some fuel. Go to the gym. I'm usually there 4:30 or 5, and I work out. I'll listen to something where I feed my mind. I'll listen to a podcast or an Audible, or I'll listen to a thought leader that just inspires me. Then right in the middle of the workout and after, I'll shoot back a 1 scoop of protein powder shake. Get home. I've already prepped. Typically, if I'm doing overnight oats that day, I've already prepped the overnight oats. So I have that and two boiled eggs for breakfast. At 10 o'clock or 9:30, I'll have 90 grams of balsamic rice. I know I said that wrong. Scoop of raisins, 2 scoops uh, of maple syrup, and 1 scoop, like 1 tablespoon, by the way, of whipping cream. Then and that's like a nice little snack, like it's
Wow.
some rice, like a rice pudding. And then at noon, 5 ounces of protein with 90 grams of rice. And I like eating steamed broccoli, but I've been microwaving that. It works for me. It's so much faster than boiling it. 2 o'clock, I'll have a banana and a scoop of protein powder and drink that. Gets me to about 5:30 or 6. And then I'll have a 5 ounces protein, veggies, and uh, done for the day. And I'm drinking 3 liters to 4 liters of water a day. But a fun fact, it's probably some days it feels like 2 liters and 2 liters of 1 liter of coffee.
That's a good question. Do you count the coffee anywhere? Because coffee does have water in it. I mean,
I do, and I know I shouldn't be. And my coach, if he heard me, he's going to shoot me. Uh, but here's my coffee, buddy. So,
it's while we're both sitting here with our cups, having at it. Oh, I tell you, no, that's one of the biggest issues too that I hear and that I experience, in when I'm dealing with it is trying to get all the water in because,
yeah,
I podcast for a living. I do 10 episodes a day sometimes, and I drink coffee through all of them.
yeah.
And man, that's probably, a couple gallons of water I'm drinking. But then
Oh,
I'm
yeah.
supposed to drink a gallon of water in addition to that. And I'm just like, man, it doesn't fit. It's just not going
I
in.
know it, but we have to do it. We have to do it, and I understand because some days I'm the same way.
Right.
And no one's perfect. So, but yeah, I'd be doing just as much consumption as you if I was doing that all the time.
Oh my
So
gosh.
yeah.
Wow. I mean, this is quite a story, brother. It really is. And I hope, I really do hope, I'm rooting for you. I hope you hit that 150. That's just such an incredible
Oh,
accomplishment, man.
I am going to do it. I know once because discipline is a decision. And once you have that mindset that you're going to do it, and that's where I am now. When I decide to do something and I go all in, there's nothing stopping me.
I love that.
It's it's when we decide that this is it. And for any of you listening, maybe there's something that's on your heart. Just make that decision. Say, this is it. I am worth it. This is for me. And belief, 100% belief, 100% clarity, 100% of the time. That's the way we go.
Love it. Absolutely love it. All right.
Yeah.
A couple more things then on this, then we're going to move on to the podcast and stuff and your business
Sure.
because
Yep.
you've got, you're offering some help to some folks in
Yep.
terms of a travel plan. Tell me about
Yeah.
that real quick and how they can find that.
If you DM me travel, I'll send you a guide that I've created. So I thought, hey, with all this travel I've done the last year and a half and following my meal plan, I've developed a few systems and mindsets on how you can be successful while traveling. I go as far as bringing a scale for my weight, scale for weighing my food, and just some ideas on how you can be successful in following a meal plan. If you're following a plan like I am, there's some hacks you can do.
Wonderful.
So I'll break that down. If you DM me travel on Instagram, happy to send that to you.
And the Instagram again at Brent under or at Brett
Yep,
underscore Gallant.
that's right.
Got it.
Yeah.
I'll make sure that's in our show notes someplace
Yep.
for everybody. And DM the word travel to that, and you get that hack, which is awesome. Very
Yep.
cool. A last question on that is, do you use an app or anything like that to track this sort of thing, like macros and what you're eating, or is there a plan or something like that that you have followed, or is it just tailor-made between you and your coach?
Tailor made between my coach, but um, I've developed my own way of tracking. I have this sticky note on my screen that says, how can AI help me do this? So I've enabled a project in ChatGPT called AI Brain, and I have fitness tracker and I report into that when I'm eating
Hmm,
and my activity. And we're tracking that with my little buddy there. And so I say, this is what I ate, this is what I'm doing. Give me a summary of where I am, and it gives me uh, based on what I've been following, and I give it the the hour in the workout that I've done. Then I'll say, hey, I hit 12,000 steps, and it gives me my deficit of where I'm at.
nice, nice.
Yeah, that's
I
not,
shouldn't be
it's
surprised that
cool.
you brought some tech into this.
Oh yeah, yeah. Hey, AI is there, and AI can, with the right question, it can, and the right framework, it can help you. If you
Okay.
use it like the way I think of as a thought partner as an extension of your brain.
Got it. All right. So big with AI. Love that. That
Yeah.
takes us
Yep.
into our next area here, of course.
Mhm.
And thank you for
Yep.
sharing all that, man. I really appreciate all that. And I'm sure the listeners do too.
Yeah.
You're the founder of Adaptive Office Solutions. And then, of course, you have the podcast, the Adaptive Mindset Podcast.
Yeah.
So, which came first and why?
Uh, the business came first,
Okay.
and it was a way of me getting rid of my story. Short version is I'm going to compress this just for clarity and time.
Hmm.
I was working for a construction fabrication company, loved it, but there was a recession. I lost my job. I was reduced back in 2003, and when they brought me back, they said we need you to do recover some of your time. So I got some clients and build through the company, and it got to the point where I was leaving the job, my regular job, and going out to clients, and people kept demanding me more. And on my heart, I have a long story of an entrepreneurial mindset, even going back to a child. On my heart, I always wanted to start a company. So in 2007, I was with one of my clients and I was helping to get set up for a Brian Tracy webinar. And
Hmm.
Brian does something pretty incredible. Take 3 minutes and write down 10 of your goals. I did that in 2007. Goal number 4 was by April 1st, 2010, I will own my own successful IT company. I did a presentation a year and a half ago in Phoenix. And before I did that, I found that book where I wrote down that goal. And I was talking about mindset and goal setting in cyber. I held up that book and I said, look what I did. 2007, I found this. I was just overwhelmed. I started my company with that, and I wrote down the goal, and it actually happened 3 years later after I wrote it down. So had a tremendous journey, entrepreneurship, learned a lot. Um, and then for the last 3 or 4 years, it's been on my heart to start a podcast, various different iterations of it. And I came up with a decision finally last year. We're at our 1 year anniversary. I decided to go all in and just do something that I knew I could help some people and get to meet people and talk about something I'm passionate about. I'm meeting incredible people. When you're behind the mic, you get to have stories that impact you.
Yeah.
I've had a few, like one of my first guests said something to me that changed me. He said something about his wife. He said, every day, my goal is to love my wife even more. And I took that back to my wife and I shared that with her, and we had an incredible moment. I never would have had that opportunity had I not made the decision to go all in with podcasting, stretching myself, getting comfortable, becoming uncomfortable, getting behind the mic.
Nice. Nice.
Yeah,
That's a great story with the
yeah,
podcast. I love when people have those types of stories, where it just means so much what you're doing with your podcast, because
yeah,
it's such a vehicle for whatever it is you want to do with it. And to
yeah,
hear people using it like that just sort of fills my
yeah,
heart, man. I love hearing that type of thing.
yeah, yeah. It's incredible. Yeah.
Wonderful. So the podcast that you're doing, you bring some guests on. You also do solo episodes, or is it just strictly guests?
I've done a few solo, and that's been really uncomfortable.
Ah, okay. How
But
come?
every time well, just it's a little easier when you can have the interview and talk with somebody.
Right,
What I found, but you don't grow unless you stretch yourself, like in anything in life.
right.
So I've intentionally done more solo episodes to build that muscle.
Excellent.
So yeah,
Excellent. Okay.
yeah,
The people that you bring on, the idea behind the podcast, is it intended to be more educational, or is it business wise? There's a couple things in there when I was looking through your podcast and listening to some of your episodes, where it's
yeah.
almost like you want to be uplifting to people with an IT podcast, which I thought was a unique kind of spin on that.
100%. I do want to uplift people. I want to help people with their mindset. We rarely ever talk about cyber in the podcast. Um, it's just a byproduct that people get to be introduced to me. They know me. I believe relationships matter. They get to know who I am. They get to know who my guests are. If I can help people, because I believe we're here on this earth to help.
Hmm.
That's what we're here for. And
Excellent.
each and every episode, if I can help somebody with their life or their journey, if I brought a guest that can impact somebody and make their life better, that's the win.
Great.
That's the
Great.
win.
And that's I was surprised because I was reading your bio and it was all about the cybersecurity, right? And everything. And so I said, okay, it's going to be a cybersecurity podcast, just what I assumed going into it.
Yeah.
And then I start listening to these episodes. I'm
Well,
like, what am I hearing right now? This is not some dry cyber thing. Not that, that's dry to everybody, but I'm not a tech guy. So to me, I was
no.
like, okay, it's going to be, cybersecurity and maybe technologically sound and all that. But it wasn't. It was like anybody could listen to this podcast and get something out of it, man.
Yeah, and that's what the intention is. I like when I go on when I'm a guest on pods, we talk about cyber, but a lot of people are drawn to my story. We tend to talk more about my release of weight and my how I've reclaimed my identity over the cyber. We do talk about cyber, the scary part that people need to talk about, but
Hmm.
podcast is centered around mindset and helping people,
I love that.
inspiring. So
Absolutely love it. About how many episodes do you have out there now?
about 45, 46
Okay.
now.
I
So
was guessing around 50 just from looking it over because you don't number your episodes. So it makes it hard for people like me, to.
oh, okay. I thought I did. Yeah, okay. No, we're okay. Yeah, we're getting close to 50. Thank you for that.
No,
Yeah,
that's awesome though. I
yeah,
mean, so you passed your couple milestones already. You passed 20. and now you're on your way to 50, which is another milestone. So congrats ahead of time. I'm sure you're going to hit that.
Like,
And you
yeah,
come out how often, so everybody knows?
weekly,
Weekly.
weekly. Yeah,
Awesome. In terms of guests, if somebody's out there and they listen to your podcast, they think, man, I'd kind of like to be a guest on this. What are you looking for in a guest to bring them on your podcast?
good question. Uh, I I like to have somebody that can tell a story that has walked a part in their journey that can help people, maybe perhaps their mission can help people. And I've had people from all sorts of different industries, but if they had that journey where they know they've overcome something and they've shown how they've been resilient with their mindset to to go to the next level, I'm always interested. So,
Okay. And
yeah.
so it sounds like part of the goal here is to help other people overcome their obstacles through the podcast.
Yeah, yeah, like flexing their mindset and overcoming limiting beliefs and being inspired by people.
Okay.
So, yeah,
And is that
being
based on your
adaptable,
journey then? Is that what you had to do?
100%.
Okay.
Like you're looking at the guy that was 349 pounds that thought I couldn't do it, or the gentleman that grew his business thought I couldn't sell cybersecurity in a small community at the price point that I'm doing, and being able to help people with their cyber and helping them with their IT needs. My whole life is about building that mindset. One of my coaches calls me the mindset fairy godfather as a joke, but it's so that is my journey.
That's great.
So
That really is great.
yeah,
When it comes to losing weight, a lot of people need education. A lot of people need a structure. For you, do you feel like mindset was the biggest thing you had to overcome in getting past that?
yeah, mindset's everything.
Right.
It's that
Why,
decision. Yeah.
why was that? Was there something you were holding on to?
Yeah, I was holding on to my story. I was holding on to, some things I need to work on personally. I've had, like anybody in life, we've had emotional issues and things that we need to work on. And without getting into a lot, I had some therapy to help me with some things, with challenges, um, and I've learned that, especially with me telling my story as part of that way, having therapy to help you when you're dealing with an issue is probably, no, not probably, it's one of the biggest moves you can do to help you, whatever that is. I was speaking to a lady yesterday. She knew my story a bit. I shared a bit that I'm not prepared to tell this story yet. I've told her privately, but she was dealing something with a family member, and she was worried about what that person, somebody in her daughter's life, was going to do. I said, listen, just take from my word, you got to take care of the areas with the police and job and all that. But the other biggest thing is I would encourage your family member to get therapy just so you have somebody to talk to.
Nice.
You
Nice.
know,
So
therapy is a big flex.
I was going to say, so
Yeah.
you're definitely a proponent of therapy. You're in favor of it.
Oh, yeah. And if you can't get therapy, talk to somebody you trust that can help you. Because we're like I said earlier in the show, being an entrepreneur, I maybe didn't express it this way, but being an entrepreneur, we're on an island.
Hmm.
And sometimes there's no one to talk to. So I surround myself with other entrepreneurs in a mastermind. We talk, and that way we're not on an island. So even with our own mental health, having somebody that we can talk to is so powerful
Hmm.
and
Yeah.
helpful. Yeah.
Yeah. So you've mentioned a mastermind, and
Yeah,
you've mentioned coaching, and it sounds like multiple coaches. So it sounds like that's
absolutely.
also something that you believe in and you have dug into. Do you mind talking about maybe what kind of coaches you have or have experience with?
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. I have so number one, obviously I have a fitness coach,
Sure.
and I have a coach for business that I've had for a few years.
Hmm.
And sometimes folks have one of the ways I first was introduced to coaching, I had a government program that I was sponsored, and I didn't want to take that business coach at first because it was too busy, which was really ironic, but that's exactly why I needed it. I have a coach for cybersecurity, um, with a huge network of other cybersecurity experts around the world. So I have this network that I tap into, and we're coached, and we're just a hive mind of cutting edge. I have Dan Martell, coach for mindset, and I'm also in Dan's elite coaching network, which has helped me incredibly. And um, I think that's a key component of where I've grown a lot in my mindset and my belief and how I'm showing up. So,
Nice.
um, oh, I have a public speaking coach as well. So that's
Wow.
helping me. Yeah.
That's awesome.
So, yeah.
So public speaking is something that you've gotten into a lot lately, or is it something you're getting into? Where's the public speaking career at?
So it's more when I do presentations, I want to show up better, and even in my content, because I've had this training and I'm going to continue to invest in it. The reels that I produce for Instagram, I would say, are much better than what they used to be.
Okay.
If you look at my content from 3 or 4 years ago, and I show up differently. I'm a different person, and not just not just physically, because the old me, my face was pretty round, uh, uh, but it was also how I talk, how I express myself. There's this new confidence and belief that comes from all of these coaches around me. And have you ever heard of Jim Rohn?
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Okay, Jim Rohn inspires me so much. He says something that I live. Work harder on yourself than on your job. And that's been the story of my life.
Nice. Nice. That's something else that people hesitate to do. They hesitate to do therapy to get the help. They hesitate to get coaching in their business endeavors or their personal endeavors to get help. Did
Yeah.
you have any difficulty in kind of like trying to get over that and get a coach, or were you always open to like getting help and getting that kind of thing?
So this was about 7 or 8 years ago, Rory. The uh, local business organization knew me. He said there was a program that could fund the coaching for 75% with the local government. People that are listening, please check with your government. There might be ways for you to access coaching that you can have it funded. Just fun fact. So I spoke with my coach. He's still my coach to this day. I said, I don't think I have time to do it. And so I spoke to a few people, and they reassured me. And I took a chance on it. I was way too busy, but I wasn't putting in the systems in first. So I was really hesitant, but it's helped me so many times along the way. There's multiple little points in my life where I remember where I was speaking with that particular coach. In fact, one pivotal moment when I was in another province, I was really on the fence about making a decision where I had sometimes the biggest yes is what you say no to. I had to let part of my old business go. I
Hmm.
was in the parking lot in Labrador with my client at lunch having a conversation, and I was saying for a number of months, I got to drop the residential service. And he said, Brett, you've been talking about this for months. When are you finally going to let go? Pushed me gently enough, and I knew it was time. I wanted to do it. I didn't have the courage. And sometimes a coach can push with respect. So immediately after that call, I've contacted my office. I put a sign up on the door effective November 1st, blah, blah, blah. We are no longer doing residential services.
Good for you. That's fantastic. I
Yeah.
assume that was lower dollar and a lot more time type of thing.
Yeah, and it was, and I needed to get focused on niches and have more oxygen to take care of the business. And as we were growing with our cyber and focusing on that, I was doing my business clients a disservice by being too all over the place. So, and the nice thing about it is I refer all these residential people to another business. So it gives another opportunity for another local man to take care of his family. So
Mhm.
there's always winners. I believe we live in a world of abundance.
Yeah. No, I agree with you completely on that last statement. So I love that you're out there doing your part to spread it and share it. That's fantastic,
Yeah,
man.
yeah,
Let's get back to the podcast a little bit here. And
yeah.
the how do you go about promoting your podcast?
Um, I'm by no means an expert. I'm a rookie still, and I I share it on social media.
Mhm.
I tag my guests. And my next iteration, I've been doing a LinkedIn newsletter that I think will evolve in an overall plan to promote the podcast more. Is tying my newsletter where I've started a newsletter in LinkedIn called the Weekly Reset, where I'm just writing something that's on my heart, what I've learned to inspire people. So the plan is to tie more of the pro, pro, cross promote the podcast through that. So
Okay. Excellent.
yeah,
Excellent. The have you spent time promoting it on anything that just did not work for you?
not yet. No, my
Great.
needs are quite simple. Like I didn't get into the podcast to to do something crazy or overwhelming. It was to meet people, grow myself as an individual, inspire people.
Nice.
Down the road, that when I'm ready, it'll evolve into something more.
Mhm.
Uh, I know a few people have said that, hey, Brett, you should be a coach. So it may be lead to a vehicle to tie into that later on. So
Beautiful. Yeah.
especially with my story of reclaiming my identity with the weight loss. So
Yeah. No, that's fantastic. The podcast can also help with your public speaking career. Have you utilized your podcast at all to kind of promote that?
I have not. Yeah, and the public speaking, I didn't talk about this much, but I'm not interested in traveling as much. I'm a father of five, so I value being home.
Congratulations. That's really cool.
Yeah, I'm so blessed, married to my beautiful wife, Allison. So I tend to try not to get away as much. So the podcast is a vehicle to is my public speaking. But when I can get away, I do. But I really watch that sparingly. So
Makes sense. Absolutely makes sense.
yeah,
Let
yeah,
me ask you this then. My corny question, probably a good time to throw this in here now.
yeah.
When it comes to doing your podcast, what is it that you absolutely love the most about doing your podcast? And what is it about doing your podcast that you just absolutely throw it out the window, can't stand, hate the most?
What I love the most is speaking with the guests, and especially when the conversations just come naturally, and when you prep the episode, it just becomes this beautiful conversation like what you and I are having right now, and it evolves into something unexpected. I love that. I love those moments where I learn something, I do a takeaway, and I know that I've impacted at least one person.
Yeah,
And in that case of the example I used earlier, the one person I impacted which was the most important, was my wife. I was able to share that story about the goal of loving her more every day.
yeah,
Doesn't get any better than that.
I can see that. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, yeah,
Great answer. All right, come
yeah.
on, you got to give it to me. How about the part you can't stand?
Um, that's hard. I like it all, but part of it is finding the right guests sometimes, or if life has been busy, being ready for the podcast,
Mm-hmm.
being ready and making sure I'm showing up.
Mm-hmm.
But the one thing, yeah, if I was doing all the editing and everything, I wouldn't like it at all. I designed it in a way that that I just have to record and send it and have it produce. So, and I've even enabled my EA to take after it's produced to put it into all the social media. I was doing that before,
Yeah.
about 4 months ago. I hated that.
Fair.
So I've given that
Yeah.
away. So, the one of the biggest power moves is just trusting your team and using your people like my EA to help me do it.
Mhm.
I don't need to do that. That's not the best use of my time.
Right.
So, yeah.
Nice.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Fair. Fair. I got you. And to be
Yeah.
honest, that's, if I ask this question to everybody who comes on the show. And so if you put the top five answers on the board, Family Feud style, you know what I mean? Number one answer is
Yeah.
always the editing.
Yeah. 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 Yeah.
With
The editing
promotion
is,
being a close second, promotion on social media being the second one. Yeah. So I
I
get
would never start it if I had to edit. I knew that
you. Right.
because it's all been about for me reclaiming my time. So,
Right.
yeah.
Yeah, that would have definitely eaten it up. So that makes
Oh
total
gosh.
sense.
Yeah. I don't get
Absolutely.
energy from it. Yeah.
Right. Now, I know
Yeah.
that you're a big fan of AI and you use it in a lot of ways. How in particular do you use it for the podcast, or is that the job of, the EA?
Um, it should be the job of the EA in part of it. So I'm just calling myself out on it. But let's say if I have some guests of sometimes that I know some content about, I'll put it into a project. I have a project called Podcast, The Adaptive Mindset. And I put everything I know and the profile, if there's some websites that help podcasters, that many of the podcasters would know different ones. I take that and upload it, and I develop the show notes and the style. And I often add something a little fun that I've liked doing as rapid questions at the end. And so I'll take that and then I'll have my AI board of directors question me. I have AI question me. I question it. What does my AI board of directors think about the flow of this show? And so we have this conversation, me and the AI and the personas that are on my board of directors.
Wow.
And I have Dan Martell, I have Warren Buffett, I have David Goggins, which is really interesting. If you know who David Goggins is, you don't need another podcast, stay hard. So I take that and I refine the show notes just because like I said earlier in the episode, I believe AI, the power is using it as an extension of your brain.
Yeah.
So I have 4 or 5 personas and I'm taking it and having a conversation. I get something even more powerful out of it. So
Wow.
that's how I'm using it. So
Board of directors. I love that. Man.
yeah,
All right.
yeah. Oh, I use that all the time, Rory, like uh, in so many different ways.
That's so
So
great. That is
yeah,
so great. All right. Just a couple more questions as we kind of bring this, down to a close. And honestly, thank you so much for just coming here and having a fantastic conversation.
yeah.
Um, as you look at your episodes, and I know that your interviews are very important to you. If I were to say to you, what was your favorite or your best interview? What's the first one that jumps out to you?
There's so many, but I think the the favorite one was that story about from the man about his wife, and there was
Right.
another part where um, he, because of somebody caring enough, they knew
Hmm.
he was so close to committing suicide
Hmm.
that his his um, his client called him. I said I need you at my office in 2.5 hours. It was a 4 hour drive because that person showed up and cared enough. He saved that man's life, and then he impacted me, and then my listeners. But also he impacted me because here I am still to 48, 45 episodes later talking about him,
Yeah.
and it impacted my relationship with my wife.
Nice. Nice.
You know,
I
there's
love
so
that.
many though. Like, but that's right up there.
I love that.
So.
I thought that
Yeah.
might be the one you went with. So that's another
Yeah.
reason why I asked that question out of all the other ones, because I'm like, I bet that's the one that you keep quoting. So,
Yeah.
all right, brother. No, I get it. As we kind of, bring this to a close, before I ask you the last question, best way to reach you, is it the IG, the Instagram account, which, let me see, was Brett underscore Gallant
Yeah.
on
Yeah.
IG?
That's the best way. Yeah. Even you connect with me on LinkedIn,
Okay.
but Instagram is great. It's a great tool for communicating,
Okay.
messaging. I'm checking my Instagram 4:30 in the morning. So
All right. So there you go.
yeah,
So is LinkedIn just your name also? Is it at your name or is there some other, call sign?
it's my name. You'll find me. It'll say podcast host, speaker, cybersecurity
Yeah.
expert. There's a few other Brett Gallants. There's some Brett Gallants that are hockey players, and there's a curling Brett Gallant, but I'm the cyber guy. So
Got it. You're
yeah,
the only Brett Gallant cyber guy out there on LinkedIn, so people can find you.
that's right. Yeah,
Perfect. All right.
yeah,
All right, brother. Last question, and I'll let you get back to your absolutely fantastic day here, which started with
yeah,
working out. I'm so jealous, and I
yeah,
love it. The
yeah,
You've given a lot of really good thoughts and advice, frankly, throughout this entire episode, and I appreciate that. If you had to
yeah.
give one more, what's your remaining best piece of advice for podcasters in particular who are out there listening to this right now, who are just not quite where you are yet?
I've heard this said a few times, and maybe do you mean like just in terms of where I've developed my mindset with my weight loss and everything?
Anything,
I'll okay.
anything, brother.
Ask yourself this question. Why not you? Why not you? I've looked at myself, this Brett Gallant right now, today, the Brett Gallant from 3 years ago, he'd say, who is that guy? Because I would look at other people and I'm like, how is he doing it? But it all starts, like discipline starts with a decision and that belief and believing that you're worth it. You're worth it. And you can do it is just decide to go in and say, hey, I can do it. And get that habit of doing one small thing every day. Doesn't happen overnight, especially if I'm just relating to my weight loss and even with my own journey of reclaiming back my time with my team. One decision every day and a belief. And that belief is saying, why not? Why not you? Because you're worth it.
Wow. Great, great parting words, man, and a
Yeah.
fantastic way for us to wrap. Folks, founder of Adaptive Office Solutions, the man who did it, who lost 130 pounds and counting. So follow him on Instagram for that, if nothing else, just to keep going with that stuff. And also the host of the hit podcast, the Adaptive Mindset Podcast, Brett Gallant. Brett, thank you so much, brother, for coming on, sharing what you
Yeah.
did, and just helping everybody to feel a little bit better about their prospects today, man. Really, it was great.
I appreciate it. It's so great to be here, Rory. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Folks, that's been another awesome episode of the Podcaster Nation. The reason we get these powerful podcasters on here with these powerful messages is because this is the podcast that's about podcasters. It's for podcasters and it's done by podcasters. And I really do hope that we showed yet again today that this is the place. This is truly the place where the rising tide raises all ships. So keep sailing.